Hey guys, Chris Arnone with BlizzPro here at BlizzCon 2013, having such a great time. We are here to talk Diablo with John Hight and Alex Mayberry. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
So, PS4, got my hands on it, got to play a little bit. Want to know what ideas, what things you guys might be doing to use the new features the PS4 has, like remote play, the sharing button, or the touchscreen.
So, certainly on sharing, you're going to be able to capture the video of your gameplay, share that with friends. We're still messing around with the touchpad. If you go down on the floor, you'll see that we've mapped some things to touchpad. I want to make sure that the things that you want to get to quickly, we can turn into gestures for the pad. So that isn't final yet, but that is certainly something we're exploring. As far as second circuit, I'm sure you guys...
the Vita, the remote play on the
second
Vita.
Surface support. We haven't announced anything on that yet. You know, we're interested in it. We just want to make sure that it makes sense for the game. Most of the attention of the player is definitely going to be on the screen, and that's where we're going to keep the focus. So,
well, I know my wife would appreciate it if I could play, Diablo on the Vita while she's watching something on Netflix. That would just be full of wind.
I don't know if you saw one of the features that we're doing more on the social networking side is Avenger kills. And so if you and I are friends together, but we're not necessarily playing in the same game, and I just happen to get killed off by some zombie, just trash creature, right? But by some freak of accident, I was actually killed by it. What'll happen is my zombie will now enter into your game as John's Bane, and he'll be an elite. And if you don't successfully kill him off, then if Alex is friends, then he'll go into his game and be even tougher. And eventually, if he manages to kill it off, then a nice loot item will go to us, courtesy of Alex, and something heralding the fact that he finally killed our Bane.
Well, that's fun. I had not heard about that, actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So I'm not going to ask you about Xbox One. I kind of already know I will just get shifted to the side if I ask that. What about Reaper of Souls on PS3? Haven't heard an official announcement, PS3 and 360.
We haven't announced anything yet on that. Certainly for us, it was a matter of, we came out early supporting PlayStation 4. I know fans have been, hey, when is it going to be out on PS4? We wanted to get out on PS3 as the end of that cycle came through. So for PS4, what we wanted to do to be special is incorporate both the base game and Reaper of Souls all in one box, which is the Ultimate Evil Edition for PS4. And that way, our fans that bought the game on the PS3 but are now going to migrate up to PS4 are going to get, a lot of new content with the PS4.
Right, there's no backwards compatibility anyway on PS4, so...
Well, there isn't on the architecture, but what we are going to support is migrating your PS3 character up to the PlayStation 4. So your gameplay won't be lost. That's a one-way migration, obviously because we have new loot and stuff. So once you're playing on the PS4, you can't really bring it back to the PS3. But we are going to support that.
That's still great, though. That's great. So it's been said in several interviews that the team worked on patching Diablo 3 a lot more than was originally intended. And how did this affect maybe some internal timetables when it came to Reaper of Souls development?
That's a good one for you.
Well, I mean, it does affect us, obviously, because we have a limited number of resources. And it basically meant we had to split our time between our efforts on Reaper of Souls and the live version of the game. But we felt it was important at the time because there were issues we needed to address, and we, over the last year and a half or so, we've spent a lot of effort addressing those things, and it really gets the game into a better foundation, and really sets us up for Reaper of Souls to now really fine tune the game and get it to where we want to be.
That's great. So at what point did you say, okay, we got to get this done? We need to start working on the expansion, and decided to just sort of roll some final features out in that pre-expansion patch? Did that point come where you just sort of had to make a cutoff?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was 1.08, right? 1.8. I mean, that was the last patch we did, and we would, if left to our own devices, we'd probably just keep patching the game, right? But, at a certain point, it became more of an issue between, well, if we keep going down this right, we're just doing Band-Aid fixes, when what we really need to do is just go to the next level with Reaper of Souls. So that's why we have been focused entirely on finishing Reaper now.
That's great. Now, of course, the question that probably people have been asking you all day, and we're not going to ask, is when is PvP coming? I know we're not going to get an answer.
We have brawling.
So we have a different angle to take, though. Different way to look at it. How is the team handling the development of PvP? How high on the priority list is that right now?
Well, you
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, I think it's certainly it's something that we talk about. If not on a daily basis, certainly on a weekly basis, and it's high on our consideration list. It's not something we're going to put in Reaper of Souls. We came to the determination that for Reaper of Souls, we really want that core gameplay experience. We really want to fulfill the in game for everyone. So adventure mode was probably our most prominent new feature there. And PvP just feels like in that space that's a feature that would not, it wouldn't win back as many people as having, a strong adventure mode, as having all the content that we have in Act 5. But we haven't forgotten about, the folks that have clamored for it. But as with all things, we don't want to just throw it out there. It's something that Blizzard really wants to, consider, make sure it fits the gameplay, that it fits the audience that's playing it. So we haven't given up on it, but we don't have any answer for it during Reaper of Souls.
So Loot 2.0. Well, we've read a lot about it, heard a lot about it already. The sort of 1.5 we've gotten on the PS3, good stuff. And you're going to make legendary items easier to find just by playing. Now, D2 was similar with that. But there were still some very, very rare items, hard to find things like death webs, for instance. Are you going to continue along sort of that vein that Diablo 2 had when it comes to legendaries, or are there going to be like different tiers of rarity within legendaries? Like, how's that going to work?
Well, our philosophy for Loot 2.0 is, first of all, less is more. So, in the current version of the game, there's a lot of items that drop that you just leave on the ground, right? Or you fill up your bags just rapidly.
Right.
So we've drastically reduced the number of items that dropped, and then now we focus on improving the quality of those items. So we now have this smart drop system that when a rare or legendary drops, there's a good chance that the game's going to make it a smart drop. It's going to look at the class you're playing and tailor the item specifically for you. That being said, rarity still equals power. So our very best items in the game will still be the most rare items to find. But overall, our approach towards the item game is to be more generous with the drop rates and to provide items that really affect the skills you're playing and augments how you play the game. And some of the items that drop will actually just cause you to change your build because they have these secondary properties now that are so awesome. So we want it to change the experience for you and give players choices between, do I want to use this really awesome thing or this really awesome thing?
And we're definitely making a concerted effort to see that legendaries are going to be better than the yellows that you have in your bag. And you will see legendaries more frequently than you did in the base game.
That's cool. And so with Loot 2.0, the end of the auction house, is there a chance we could see an offline play mode, completely offline, for Diablo 3 on PC?
It's not our current plan. I mean, fundamentally, Diablo is a game that's meant to be played by multiple people. On the console side of things, you can play offline because, that audience doesn't necessarily connect up to the net, and it's really more of a casual experience. A great number of our players are actually playing on the same couch with members of their household. But on the PC side, we don't have that same shared experience, right? So we really have to look to online to bring people together to play, because it makes the game a lot more sticky. It's a lot more fun when you have a community of people to play with. So instead, we've kind of concentrated on, okay, how can we continue to enhance that social experience online? So by adding clans and groups, we hope that this will encourage people to, let's get in there and kill this stuff together, and let's get on, a regular schedule and, go after Malthael.
But no hope for the antisocial with bad internet connections. All right. Well, we've been told Act 5 is going to be one of the largest acts in Diablo 3. How much of that's going to be in Westmarch? How much will be in Pandemonium? What are we looking at in terms of scale?
Westmarch is probably a good third of the act. And once you're through Westmarch, you battle through the Blood Marsh, into the Fields of Eternity, and finally into Pandemonium Fortress. But then there are also tons of side dungeons. There's tons of cellars and random events. So, if you're a completionist, there's a lot there for you to explore.
That's great. Now, before the Diablo 3 Classic launch, I guess we're Classic versus Reaper of Souls, Jay Wilson mentioned that you had an internal plan for major patches to implement sort of balance fixes, add content. Are there similar plans for Reaper of Souls sort of post-launch, or are you just focusing it on getting everything in there right?
Well, there were 8 major patches after the base game was released, and we hope that we aren't going to necessarily have as many as we do after Reaper of Souls. Obviously, we feel it's better to have bigger, content updates than having these frequent small updates, and certainly easier for the team to continue to innovate. When you're on short cycles like that, it's hard to implement big features. So will we continue to update? Absolutely. Will it be as frequently as we did? We kind of hope not.
Well, I would also say that when we're shipping the base game, our time up until ship was really spent figuring out what Diablo 3 was, right? And it was a lot of iteration, a lot of trial and error. And then we shipped the game, and we had to deal with adjusting things that we needed to fix, right? But now with Reaper of Souls, we have that base foundation. So it's really about fine-tuning the game now and finding the levers and knobs to turn to get the game working the way we want it to.
Now, speaking of right from the get-go, what's going to be out there? Ladders. When can we expect to see those? Are those going to be Reaper of Souls right at launch?
Did you see Josh's response to that yesterday?
I did not.
I think he said something like ladders, rungs. Yeah, we like them. And that was all he said.
Okay,
he said, "Stay tuned." So he's our game director. I'm gonna follow his lead on that.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I had a discussion with him offline about Xbox One. That's why I was like, I'm not even gonna ask that question because I got that sort of same. Yeah, we really support Sony. Yeah, okay, I got it. So obviously, Diablo 3 Classic had a lot of criticisms, a lot of reactions that weren't that great. What has it been like so far with Reaper of Souls? What has the reaction been to the announcements?
Well, I've been down on the floor watching people play and talking to them about their experiences afterward, and everyone I've talked to has really been excited about the changes. They're excited about Act 5. They're excited about the Crusader. They're super excited about Adventure Mode. When you get into Adventure Mode and you start realizing how much it opens up the game and how much variety there is, I'm hearing a lot of people going, "This is how I'm playing at this point. It's all Adventure Mode." And I know for me personally, we are testing internally, and I'm able to play with my live character and level it up to 70 and really get a sense of how that experience goes from the base game now to Reaper of Souls. And I find on the weekends I am playing Reaper of Souls all the time, and in fact I'm having more fun in the game than I've ever had since launch.
Wow. So what gave the idea for the bounties in Adventure Mode? Where did that come about?
Well, first we wanted to open the world, and we opened up all the waypoints. And then we thought about this new map to give the everywhere in the world a sense of place. And that felt good, but it also felt like, well, what do I do now? I have this whole open world. So we didn't want to pin anyone into story. If you're tired of the story, here's this open world mode. But then it felt undirected. So we realized we needed to give people some challenges. So now with bounties, they're sprinkled all over every act, and they're random, and you might be asked to go kill a unique named creature, or go kill a boss, or complete an event. And what happens is now you go into the zone, and here you have an objective. And so instead of what you've been used to is, I need to go from point A to point B to get through the narrative.
Right.
Now it's, no, you're not here to get out of the zone. You're here to explore it, to find something and complete it. So it really gives you objectives to do, but you don't feel forced. You can play whichever ones you want and approach it in whatever manner you'd like. You're not forced down a rail. So it just really makes the world feel more open. You have that freedom, but you also have things to do.
D3 players are completionists, and they want their rewards.
They do. They want their end game. They want it. They want it. They want it. Well, thanks so much, guys, for your time.
Thank you.
Very excited, I know, personally, about Reaper of Souls, getting my hands on it, both PC and maybe PS3, PS4. I don't know. I'm not sure when I'm going to upgrade for next-gen console, but definitely looking forward to it. So,
Awesome.
Thanks again for your time.
Great. Thank you.